Workforce Go provides 3 points of integration between Intacct and HRMS. The first point of integration is dimensions, the second is payroll transactions, and the third is timesheets. Let's take a quick look at how each of these 3 integrations work. The first is dimensions. To demonstrate the integration of dimensions between Workforce Go and Intacct, I'll add a dimension value within Intacct. We'll call this the HRMS dimension. When I click Save, Workforce Go adds this value to the corresponding concept over in Workforce Go, which is called a cost center. Workforce Go cost centers are held within tables much like as in Intacct. And if we take a look at the department cost center table, we'll see our HRMS value. In fact, we can move back over into Intacct, and because the HRMS dimension has no transactions posted against it, we can delete that value within our department dimension table, move back over to Workforce Go, refresh the department cost center table, and the HRMS value disappears. The second level of integration is payroll transactions. Let's take a look at our payroll transactions within Workforce Go. This report lists all open pay periods, and they're ineligible to be transferred to Intacct. So let's change it for only the finalized or non-open pay periods for this year, and we get a manageable list that shows the last finalized pay period being January 31st, 2016. If we look at the general ledger entry created by this pay period, this finalized pay period, we see it's a really complicated transaction. It has a lot of dimension values represented across the top: department, location, class, even project. And if we move to the bottom, we'll see that our check total is $11,477.82. That'll give us something to look for in Intacct when we create that transaction. To do that, we access the Workforce Go menu and then the function created to do that, and we ask Workforce Go to query for the last finalized payroll that has not been posted to Intacct. As expected, we received the January 31st pay period, so we'll select that and we'll click Post. Once our transaction is posted, we receive an update on the status of that transaction posting, and we see here that we were successful. In addition to that, our table of historical entries that Workforce Go has created within Intacct now has a value in it that's dated January 31st, 2016. This keeps us from posting that transaction twice. It also gives us a hyperlink into the payroll journal in Intacct so that we can take a look at the posted transaction. Once again, it's a complicated entry. We have all of the dimensions represented, with the exception of employee, which has been stripped out so as not to reveal employee payroll information within our general ledger. If we move to the bottom, we get the $11,477.82 check total that we were expecting. The third point of integration is timesheets. We can move timesheets either from Intacct to Workforce Go or from Workforce Go to Intacct. In this demonstration, we'll move them from Workforce Go to Intacct. Starting in Workforce Go, let's go to the timesheet review report. It'll be a big long list that we'll want to filter for only those approved timesheets that are within this year. It's a much more manageable list, and very near the bottom, we have a couple of timesheets with a timesheet end of March 27, 2016. One is for Shin, the other is for John, and Shin's has 56 hours, whereas John's has 64 hours. To move those timesheets over to Intacct, we'll access the Workforce Go menu and choose the appropriate selection. The first thing that we have to do is query the Workforce Go database for approved timesheets within the time period that we've chosen from the drop-down box that happens to include March 27th, 2016. Upon completion, Workforce Go returns all of the approved timesheets within our selected time range, and we see at the bottom we've got the two dated March 27th, 2016, one for Shin and one for John. We'll select those and we'll click Post. As with our payroll transactions, we're provided a status report which shows that we were successful on both of these timesheet transfers. And we can go into Projects Staff Timesheets function and see these two timesheets, one from Shin and one from John. Let's take a look at Shin's and make sure it has 56 hours, and it does. We also will have in the general ledger two posted journal entries for these fully costed timesheets, as long as the employee dimension cost rate value has been updated. In summary, Workforce Go integrates dimensions, payroll transactions, and timesheets between Intacct and Workforce Go. Thank you very much.